Joshua Mania Nelms. I'm young, black, and in business. My personal definition of success is having something that's truly fulfilling to you as an individual. Many people think that money is the root of everything, and money it can create everything, and it can. Money creates options. But as I'm solely around a lot of people who are very well off and very affluent, they tell me that money isn't everything. And it's interesting because we grow up and think that, especially for people who grew up in inner cities such as myself, we grow up and think that money's everything because that's all we know, because that's the only thing that we lack, right? We got everything else, we're happy about everything else, but we lack money and finances. But then my white colleagues that I'm around, they tell me that, Josh, money isn't everything and money will not make you happy. And that had me really doing a lot of soul searching. And that soul searching, I really found out that, having something that's fulfilling is success. Giving back is success. And truly having something that you can feel good about every day that you wake up, that you can do with a smile on your face without even making a dollar. But through that alone, organically through that alone, you will become successful. Some of my successful habits, the first things first is that I wake up early every day. One of the things that I do is I make my bed. Now the reason why I make my bed every day is because it brings a sense of accomplishment early in the morning. The second thing that I do, of course, is dress for success, right? You gotta look good, you gotta feel good, you gotta smell good, right, in order to perform at your best. The third thing that I do is create a plan. You gotta have a plan and you have to have an action in place. You have to write down a goal. You have to write things down and have it come to fruition. I think a lot of people really miss that part. They think that you can just have the ideas and not write it down and it won't come to pass, but you have to write it down. It's true, it's factual. Then after that, you have to make action on that plan, right? You can't just have the plan and not do anything about it. You gotta work hard. And hard work without faith is dead, right? Faith without hard work is dead. So you gotta have faith. You gotta believe in yourself. You gotta believe in what you're doing. You gotta believe in the process. You gotta work hard for it in order to achieve the dreams and the goals that you have in life. And those are just some of the things that I do, and the daily things that I do every day. Constantly feeding myself words of wisdom, keeping positive people around me, staying away from the negative people, the energy drainers in my life. Those are some of the things that I do to help me out on a daily basis. I think the way you can create, or the way that an individual creates their business and their brand, is really by who they are as an individual. I think that if you're genuine, I think that people gravitate towards you naturally. If you do things differently the way that other people are doing it, you have to go against the grain. You have to push the envelope. You gotta do better than the status quo. The status quo says that, you can't do this, you can't do that. You have to challenge that. So I think the biggest way that I created a brand or an image for myself is truly not by burning bridges, right? Because you never know when you may need someone, or you never know when you may need to come back to someone. Secondly is by being a man of integrity and a man of word. And that having those three things alone will gain you so much further in life. If you just become a person of integrity, a person of your word, you work hard, and of course you don't burn any bridges along the way. Now it's okay to separate, right? But don't burn any bridges, because you never know when you might have to come back to that person, or whomever may be out there talking highly or not highly about you. I look up to many people as motivational figures. I look up to Martin Luther King. That's one of the biggest motivational figures that I look up to. Malcolm X, Abraham Lincoln. I look up to a lot of people as motivational figures, but probably the biggest person I look up to is my dad. I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for my dad. My dad is the reason why I'm still in California, because when I felt like giving up, he didn't let me give up, and he told me that I had a job to do, right? So the biggest motivational person in my life is my dad. Monitoring his work habits. He was a hardworking man, blue-collar hardworking man out of Columbus, Ohio. Grew up in the back country sticks of Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. Came up from nothing. And he taught me everything about how to work hard and to believe in myself and to give me that. And I know that I'm blessed and lucky to have that, because a lot of my friends and colleagues may not have a father figure like that, but it truly helped me out in my growth development and my stage in my life and my career And having someone like that around you on a day-to-day basis to speak life into you is a blessing alone. So that's definitely my biggest hero and my biggest counterpart as far as the reason why I'm at today. Well, there's many things you can do. I think that to grow and develop as a leader, you have to constantly try to reinvent yourself. And I mean by a number of different ways. I think that you can use, education to reinvent yourself. You have to constantly educate yourself. You have to constantly stay up with the market trends. You have to constantly stay adept to what's going on in the marketplace. Secondly, I think that you have to be around the right people. I think that a lot of people are surrounded by bad people and that they're limited in their lives. For example, I have friends and family that did things that, illegally, and, I had to get away from that type of circle and those type of people. Not that they're bad people, it's just that if you want to go somewhere, sparrows can't fly with eagles, right? And you have to realize that on your way to success, on your way to your dream, your destiny, your goals in life, you have to constantly feed yourself words of affirmation, words of wisdom, whether it's from the Bible, whether it's from the Quran, whether it's from whomever it is. You have to constantly feed yourself this information because you're going to need it in these trying times. So the things that I'm doing to constantly develop myself is staying around the right people, keeping my circle tight, making sure that I'm around people who are loyal to me and loyal to my business and organization, because not having loyal people can be detrimental to you. And also having people that are real, right, that are telling you that you're messing up and they can be honest with you. So get away from the yes men and yes women. Keep people who are genuine around you. Constantly feed yourself, constantly educate yourself on a daily basis. If it's 10 minutes every day, if it's reading a book a day or reading a chapter a day, constantly do that. So constantly learn, because education is really never ending. It's limitless. My ultimate lifetime goal is to bring back artifacts from Africa. I believe it takes another African American man to do that. I think that's one of my lifetime goals, is to bring back ancient artifacts of our ancestry and our lineage of African American race back to the country, back to the Smithsonian Museum. It's funny because I was looking at the Smithsonian Museum the other day, and I was looking and I was thinking like how much of Egypt architect do they have in there, and they probably don't have too much of it, but we need to know what we did as a people before we got here. And I think that if we go and we find out which is in Egypt, what we did, I think if we bring that back to our people, I think it can help us out a lot. And just to understand where we come from in our lineage and our bloodline. That's the first thing. The second thing that I want to do is save souls. I think that we have to minister to people that there is a higher power, that there is a higher being or purpose in life. And it's not just, this is just carnal. This is only going to be temporary, but there should be always a higher purpose of your life. And thirdly, the thing that I want to do is give back millions of dollars to the inner city and to the communities by building up communities, by giving back, by actually gentrifying the communities and giving back to our own people. I think that this is possible. We're already working on some plans of doing this back in Ohio where I'm from. And we want to actually rehabilitate criminals, starting with my own family. That's what I'm starting with. So I want to rehabilitate my family, and I already have processes in place to actually do that, where we're putting up nonprofits together to rehabilitate criminals in the marketplace, help them succeed, and also flourish as well. Jesus had haters, so people who complain and that gripe and moan, you can't look at the man or the woman next to you. You have to achieve your goals, and you have to stay in your lane and do what you have to do. Don't get deterred when you see other people successful. I know it hurts. I know that jealousy may kind of arise. You can't do that. You have to believe in yourself and congratulate them and say, you know what, man, that's a blessing. You know what, congratulations. That's the first part of that crab in a barrel mentality. I think is that individuals start to, they don't want to believe that you are where you are in your life. So, you know, what I'll say to people like that is just get your head out the sand and start making moves. Because if you're going to be the person that sits and ponder all day, the doer is going to be the one that wins. One of the biggest reasons and one of the biggest ways I'm giving back to the community is by giving jobs. You know, I've hired over 25 African-American men, young men, into this career field. My brother-in-law I've hired into this career field. One of the first guys I hired in California, in LA, he's actually working with Jordan Belfort, who's on the Wolf of Wall Street. He picked him up from me. So giving people opportunities, giving people chances at this career field, and even in business. Now that I think about it, the more I think about this, I started a promotion company when I was in college, and I hired, and I had nothing but at least 30, 40 people on my street team, and in my team at Corley, all of those were young African-American men. All those young men are looking up to me now. All those young men are monitoring what I'm doing now. We have to lead by example. I feel like if one goes, we can save a generation. If we save one person, we save a generation. So we have to get in the habit and the mindset of saving generations. Also to the youth. One of the biggest things that we had was the Brothers with Ties event that we did with the Urban League. That was a big success. We're doing the same thing with the Columbus Urban League, and that's going to be a huge success. So not only are we trying to do it here, but we're trying to do it nationally, right? Because we have to take care of our children nationally. And once again, each one teach one. We have to go back into the community. We have to teach each other what's going on. W.E.B. Du Bois, the Talented 10th, talks about it. He talks about how we have to teach each person what we've learned in the marketplace so they can have a competitive advantage. There's an interesting book called Outliers, written by Malcolm Gladwell. It talks about how poor children, poor kids, actually learn faster than rich children. So if you take a poor kid from Southeast San Diego, or Southeast, or South Central, or South Compton, and you actually match them up with a kid who grew up in Beverly Hills, they actually learn faster than the kids in Beverly Hills, faster than the kids in Poway, faster than the kids at Rancho Santa Fe. We have to learn, we have to know this, and that's data, through data, that's statistics. It shows that it's proven. And if you read the book, it talks about how we are not at a disadvantage. We believe we're at a disadvantage, but we're really not at a disadvantage. And the way that we break out of that mold is by seeing people of our own skin color succeeding in the marketplace. Then that's when we realize it's possible. And we have to gear the youth more towards that to realize, hey, you can make six figures and be flashy, and guess what? Sell stocks. You ain't selling dope, you're selling stocks now, right? They have to believe that, they have to see that, but they're not seeing it. So I think that I'm challenging a lot of the African American men. I'm challenging a lot of the African American people to step up in those high positions like I have, in those VP positions, in those corporate positions, in those athletes, to go out and basically say, I'm going to give back and do something, at least help one child. If we can help one child, we can save our race. 8 steps to success is get up early. Do your due diligence in whatever you do. Do your research. Thirdly is believing in yourself. Fourth is having faith and the confidence in yourself. Just the confidence alone. Fifth will be to surround yourself with positive people and role models. 6 will be to constantly educate yourself and always grow and nourish yourself. 7 will be to be passionate about what you do. And lastly, 8 is my favorite word, is to work hard. You know, you gotta grind hard. It's not an easy game, and no one made it overnight. You gotta grind hard. Yeah. So I work. I'm a partner, managing sales director for Mass Mutual. We're a Fortune 100 company, one of the largest companies in the world. My contact information on LinkedIn and Facebook and also Instagram is I am J Nelms, and that's I am J Nelms, JNELMS, and that's how you can contact me. I have offices all throughout Southern California, from in San Diego all the way up to LA. So that's how you can contact me. If you find me in the street, say hi, wave at me. and I'll make sure we chop it up.